Hey folks, welcome to my channel Number Pen. So there we have the problem on the screen. Find the derivative of the following: y equals sine inverse of 3x minus 4x cube, right? And again, an inverse problem where we will have to figure out what is that substitution that I can make for x so that my sine inverse, I'm able to reduce it to a sine inverse of a sine, right? And this is where I want you to remember this particular formula and memorize it. Sine 3 theta equals 3 sine theta minus 4 sine cube theta, right? 3 sine theta minus 4 sine cube theta. This is again a very useful formula, and I will also write down the cost version of it. So these two are again very useful formulas when it comes to trigonometry or when it comes to solving derivatives of inverse trigonometric functions, right? So when I make this particular substitution x equals sine theta, what happens to 3x minus 4x cubed? So let's write down our substitution. X equals sine theta. What happens to my y? My y becomes sine inverse of 3 sine theta minus 4 sine cube theta. Right? And this is nothing but sine inverse of sine 3 theta, right? And sine inverse of sine theta is nothing but theta, and therefore sine inverse of sine 3 theta is nothing but 3 theta, right? So now you see with this trigonometric identity, we have reduced the expression to 3 theta, and from here on, it's going to be pretty much simple as long as you know inverse trigonometric derivatives from first principles, right? So you have y equals 3 theta. Let's write that down in the new line. And remember, folks, I will have to express my final answer in terms of x. And therefore, my dy by dx equals d by dx of theta. And I want to draw your attention to the original substitution that we made, which is x equals sine theta. So I put back my theta in the form of x, right? And what is it? It is nothing but a sine inverse of x, right? So it is dy dx of 3 sine inverse of x, right? Because my 3 theta is nothing but 3 times sine inverse of x, going back to the original substitution that we made. And this we are quite familiar from first principles. D by dx of 3 sine inverse of x is nothing but 3 divided by square root of sine inverse of x from first principles is 1 divided by root of 1 minus x square, right? So I have 3 sine inverse of x. Derivative is 3 divided by 1 minus x square, right? So there we have our final answer. And some of you might have a question, and I thought it's very important to highlight that in this particular problem. When I make a substitution x equals sine theta, what am I actually doing? It actually means that my x also belongs to the closed interval minus 1 to 1, right? We have not been given where does x belong to. Instead, we will have to assume that x belongs to R. But the catch here is we are still okay to substitute x equals sine theta. Why? Because our original expression, sine inverse of 3x minus 4x cube, let me write it like this so that you understand. Let me go to a new line. I'm not going to spend much time on this, folks, but I will leave it to you to ponder over this particular point. When I have this y equals sine inverse of 3x minus 4x cube, what does it actually mean? It means sine y equals 3x minus 4x cube, right? So we got 3x minus 4x cube, which is a polynomial of degree 3, is actually the sine of y, right? I'm just highlighting this in green. And we know that sine of y will belong to the closed domain -1 to +1, right? And therefore, with a little bit of calculation, you will be able to arrive at, if my 3x minus 4x cube belongs to the closed interval -1 to +1, then my x also will belong to that particular interval -1 to +1, right? And I'm not going to go into doing that out for you. But that's the thought process behind making the substitution x equal to sine theta, because by making this substitution, we are definitely restricting what values x can take, right? Whereas we have not been given that in the original problem. And I'm just helping you understand that from the expression y equals sine inverse of 3x minus 4x cube, right? So that's the idea behind putting this substitution x equal to sine theta. And there we have the final answer highlighted in pink. Dy by dx equals 3 divided by square root of 1 minus x square. I hope you found this content useful. Please do subscribe to my channel and support. Thank you.